Yo, what's up? We are now sitting in the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT, and in this video I'm going to talk about Ionity. So this is a different style than I usually do because I have those styles when I sit in the car and talk. This time, and also I have those podcast style thing. This is still going to be 4K, but slightly more interactive. So okay, back to the topic. Ionity. I experienced this summer that we have more and more laderstau at Ionity now, and you also have more and more broken chargers. It wasn't always like this. I remember just 2 years ago. Yeah, you guys have seen my 1,000 kilometer challenges. Roughly 1-2 years ago, especially 2 years or 3 years ago, there were almost no queues at Ionity. I could go there. Plenty of stalls available in the middle of Saturdays, no problem. But then I guess after Ionity introduced more and more cars, or the Ionity partnered with more and more cars, then we've been getting more and more cars on the road. Not only that, but also I guess some cars might be too expensive or not attractive enough in the past, right? We had like the Korean cars like Kona, e-Niro, but then with the introduction of the ABB platform and I guess, yeah, whatever, you guys know how it is. Lately, we've been getting more and more EVs and also more affordable EVs for Swedes or the rest of Europe. So I've seen a change there that we have been getting, for example, more ID4s, more Enyaqs and Polestar 2 also, and Volvo XC40, C40. So that's why we have seen more and more laderstau. I call it laderstau. It's just charging queue. It's just, Stau in German means congestion. And then Lade is like, yeah, charging queue, yes. I didn't invent it. Just like camper mode, I didn't invent it. Someone else already talked about laderstau before. I wonder if it was the next move or something. But okay, so I just want to ask you guys, the users, do you guys think Ionity should do something about this? Because you guys have seen it. I don't need to explain the basics here, but you've seen that for Tesla sites, there would be typically nowadays seems like Tesla puts up at least 10 stalls, maybe more, sometimes 20 stalls in new sites. And then Ionity, typically they have only 4 or 6 stalls. And the problem with Ionity is that they are not shared. We have those 350 kilowatt Tritium chargers. They are not shared. And I came here to show you guys, maybe Ionity should consider a different hardware manufacturer. I actually talked to them about this, and they have already considered Kempower, but I guess they haven't made any decision. Look here, we even have a Taycan here charging at the Kempower, and we also have an e-Golf and some stuff here. And these Kempower chargers, I can show you that those in front of us, those are just the dispensers. And then what you see here behind the Zoe, that's the power stack. That's where the stuff happens. That's where actually the chargers are. What's this car doing? So the way it works is that we have the power modules in that box in front of us there, you see with the orange thing. And then the power is distributed via these dispensers. And I don't know how powerful this site is, but let's say it's just 400 kilowatt, maybe even less, because we have so few stalls here. So we have 400 kilowatt that can be distributed between all these cars. And for the most cases, it's enough, because you see that the e-Golf is only pulling maximum 42 kilowatt. The i3 is pulling maximum 50 kilowatt or 49 kilowatt. The Porsche here, the Taycan, might be pulling, well, I'm not sure, but at least this site is limited to 150 kilowatt. But he's happy. He's using the Kempower here. So let's just keep moving, and I will continue. But okay, the thing is that Kempower is also my sponsor. So I just show you in a very objective way what Kempower has to offer. They have this power distributed system. And what I should also mention is that if one of those dispensers would fail, then at least all the other dispensers are not affected by this, because at least you will have many other stalls you can use. And this is just a small Kempower site. I've seen way bigger Kempower sites with 8 or 10 or 12 stalls, or dispensers, what they call it. And that's actually already bigger than most Ionity sites. But the Ionity, they have shareholders, or the owners, or the funders, or whatever you're going to call it, right? So there is someone telling Ionity what they can do and what they cannot do. So they are just simply not the Taycan, they are the Taycan't. So I mean, they might want to do something, but the people behind Ionity, they might dictate them on what they can do. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And you can imagine that we have, for example, brands like VAG and Porsche and BMW, Audis on the, but you know, for example, if a Porsche owner, a Porsche, let's troll a little bit, a Porsche Taycan rolls up, he doesn't want 150 kilowatt. He paid high price for his Taycan. He wants 257 kilowatt, or it's actually 265 kilowatt, which is peak, as long as he's not cold-gating and he has low enough battery. Truth is that most of the time I rarely see Taycans take the 265 kilowatt. Most of the time I've seen them, they take roughly 150, or maybe less, actually 100 kilowatt, like at Alvdal in winter, they cold-gate. So but at least, you know, the Porsche, they need to make sure that whenever a Porsche owner goes to an Ionity, they can get the maximum speed what they have paid for. And that's why they don't have the power sharing, or at least they chose not to do it. But then those chargers are 350 kilowatts, so they can in theory output 350 kilowatt, but they are not utilizing it because no cars, at least in Europe, can utilize it. Eventually we have Lucid Air that can take roughly 300 kilowatt peak, but that's still not 350. But it's like, okay, but I understand their philosophy, because Ionity told me that they just want they want to it's like the chicken or the egg, right? They want to be the in front and make sure that the charging network is ready for it. So that's a good philosophy. However, I think they are a little bit too much forward, because most cars nowadays, they simply cannot utilize that power, 350. So I have done some check when I was at Helsingborg, and I think at that time all the Tritium chargers were actually working. If you guys would watch my 1,000 kilometer challenge, I don't know what's up with Helsingborg in Sweden, but that site tends to have, I mean, it has six Ionity or Tritium chargers. Tritium is the hardware manufacturer. Ionity is the charge point operator, and they have 6 chargers, but typically only 2 to 5 stalls are usually operational. Wait, how do I activate the cruise control here? I have to. Okay, can I get the Sharks theme? I'm not sure. But there was one time I checked at Helsingborg, when it was helt fullt, yeah. And I noticed that the average power across all those 6 cars that were charging was roughly 75 kilowatt. So, which means that roughly 400 to 500 kilowatt on that whole site would have been enough if they had some kind of power distribution thing. And also, when I look into Kempower, when we look at the Charge Eye, which is a software behind Kempower, at Espa, let me see, I think Espa had, I'm not sure if it was 6 or 8 stalls, but they have a maximum, again, I don't remember the details here. They have something like 400 kilowatt only divided by those stalls. And also Kempower could tell me that they usually peak at 400 kilowatt when it's really busy. And also the average power on their chargers is roughly 70 something kilowatts, and that's even including some e-trons in the mix, maybe that can take 140, 150 flat, and some leaves that you guys have seen, maybe some i3s, a little bit of mix of everything, and they can only, quote, only take 70 on average. So, but I also seen some cases where at Helsingborg, again, there was another day where we all plugged in, or at least many people recently plugged in, maybe with some low batteries, and then I saw as high as 150, maybe let's say 120 to 150 kilowatt average. But that is still far off the 350 kilowatt that each charger can possibly output. So what am I saying is that we are not there yet. The average, not everyone drives a Taycan, not everyone drives an EV6 or something, and even the EV6 and the Taycan cannot maintain the maximum speed for too long. So and it goes so fast. So normally you are riding on that high wave for just minutes, just a couple of minutes, up to maybe 5 minutes. I haven't counted the minutes, but it's not that long. And that means that the probability of an Ionity site, what is the probability of a site with 6, like let's say Helsingborg with 6 stalls, and they just happen to be operational and working, and there will be 6 Taycans arriving with empty batteries, all of them, and they are not cold gating. That is like microscopic probability. So I think in average you can today expect something like 70 to 100. Let's say, okay, we can overscale it, so we can scale it for 100 kilowatt then, or something. But that's the beauty of Kempower, which is that they can just scale it up. They can you can start with smaller in the beginning, and then once you see that the traffic grows, then you can scale it up and add more power modules if the cars on average charges faster. Here, by the way, we see Polestar 2 maximum 150 kilowatt, but not for too long, up until roughly 20-30%. And then we have a classic Ioniq, takes around 60 kilowatt on a good day, as long as it's not rapid gating. But I guess not many Ioniqs hammer too hard when they rapid gate. But you see, so now you get an idea, right? What to expect. So yeah, I mean, I'm just talking here because the whole power distribution is a way smarter way of utilizing the on-site available power. And what is the whole point? Well, the whole point is that Helsingborg, for example, I think it has roughly 2 megawatt or 2.1 megawatt available there, but it's then only available for 6 cars, and they are usually utilizing only 25%, sometimes maybe 30% of the available power there. So wouldn't it be better to have some kind of power distributed charging hardware there, and you can have at least 12 stalls there, right? Just there's plenty of space there. Well, but of course, again, I can't say much. I can't recommend Kempower because that's my sponsor. But I'm just telling you guys, and of course, because they are my sponsor, I just happen to have lots of insight in what the hardware and the software of Kempower is capable of. So at least you will know that part. But I'm not going to tell you, get Kempower, I will just tell you what is available. But you're going to visit another site soon, which is Alpitronic. And Alpitronic, they have a product called Hypercharger. You guys have seen it. It's more and more common now. We have, let me think here, who uses Alpitronic? Circle K uses Alpitronic or Hyperchargers. Recharge uses them. Yeah, but just put it this way, lots of charge point operators around Europe uses Hypercharger. And the Hypercharger is more tailored against charging a car, whereas what I heard was that those 50 kilowatt ABB chargers is actually based on old hardware that has nothing to do with charging car. They just happen to use existing ABB hardware for I don't know, transforming AC to DC or some stuff, and they use that to build the 50 kilowatt charger. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard it was. So it's not necessarily optimal the way they have done it, and maybe that's why they tend to fail also. Whereas hypercharger is more robust. At least I haven't seen too many hyperchargers fail, and the hypercharger comes in several versions, and the fat version has 4 slots for power modules, and each power module is officially 75 kilowatt, but unofficially, from what I heard from sources, it's actually 87.5 kilowatt, which means that if you have the fat version, you can actually output 350 kilowatt, and you can satisfy Lucid customers or Taycan customers. And I don't receive money from Alpitronic, so I also seen the Alpitronic. I like the Alpitronic design. It has the more traditional design, but at least you can then have several plugs, up to 4 plugs on each charger, like stack or whatever you call it. But that's the more traditional design, because Kempower and Tesla, they dig the dispenser underground and stuff, and they separate the power modules from the dispenser. Whereas here, we will see soon, it's more traditional design, which has advantages because you don't have to dig or do too much. You just slap it on, and then that's it, good to go. So let me show you now. From what I remember here, yeah, I think actually they brand this as 300 kilowatts, but it should maybe be high. I'm not sure how many power modules it has, but this is Circle K. Wait, is it blocked? It's almost blocked by a freaking bus. No, my bad. That's the bus stop. Yeah, I'm not here too often, so excuse me for my noobness. So let me show you here. Yeah, you see. It's the bus is charging on one of them. Wow, not like a bus. Wait, what is this? Huh? An electric bus? Like a ninja. So he's using. Okay, so you see, he's using 1 CCS plug. And then we can have up to 4 plugs, and we have another CCS to the right, and then the one in the middle is a CHAdeMO. So you can equip this with CHAdeMO or CCS, whatever you like. But I would assume that this is, by the way, the fattest version with up to 4 power modules. And with this one, you could get 350 kilowatt, but you can also share it. Sharing is caring, right? That's the whole point. So what you could do here is you equip it with only 2 CCS plugs. And then if a Taycan comes, it will get, and if the Taycan is alone, it will get 300, well, not 350 kilowatt, but 250 something kilowatt, right? 260 kilowatt. But then if someone else plugs in next to it, then it will split and it will be lower. But will the Taycan owner accept it? Well, I'm not sure, but let me see here. I'm just going to show you again, typical scenario. Here we have a Mercedes EQ. Is that the EQA or EQB? I'm not sure. I think it's EQB. And the fat e-tron. The fat e-tron is about to pull out. He's slurped in. So you see, not too common that we have cars that can take 250 kilowatt across the board. So most of the time they can only take, I don't know, 150 kilowatt or less. Wait, can we check over there? What do we have over there? Yeah, okay, let me just show you here also, since we're already here. I can show you here, we have traditional ABB Chargers. And I'm not sure why these guys are charging here and not at the high power charger, but we have a Skoda Enyaq that can take at least 125 kilowatt, but it's charging on the 50 kilowatt charger. These are the traditional, the old school 50 kilowatt chargers. And then we have an MG ZSEV. It makes sense because the MG ZSEV cannot utilize that hardware that much. But you will never see Ionity with 50 kilowatt chargers. When I talked to Ionity, I even asked them, have you guys considered just 150 kilowatt charger? And say, nah, it's not going to cut it. They want more power. So okay, fair and square. Yes, all right, just go for it. Go for the future. Chicken and egg. But so I guess that's the problem. So I'll show you guys the Hypercharger. Now the Hypercharger has, like I mentioned, 3 power units. So at least I guess a Taycan should be able to utilize the 87.5 kilowatt from each power module, right? I guess as long as the voltage is high enough or stuff like that. But the way the logic works is that each power module can only supply 1 car. Or so if, let's say, a Leaf uses 1 plug, then the Leaf will actually occupy the whole power module, the 87.5 kilowatt. And then if a Taycan arrives, the Taycan will get the 3 remaining power modules, and they will still be quite sufficient. You will still get, how much is that? Roughly 250 kilowatt, isn't it? Or maybe more, quick math. But then, yeah, and then, but that's the resolution of the power modules, which is 87.5 or 75, depending on how you count it. But that's it's kind of high. What you want is to have more fine grain distribution. For example, Tesla V2 superchargers. From what I remember, Tesla uses, at least at the V2, I'm not sure if they still use it today, but they used to use onboard chargers that they used in the car. The same hardware they use in the car, they put that in the charger stack, similar to what you saw initially at Kempower site. And that means that when they, oh yeah, and over there in Tesla, if you guys don't know, they share the A and B stalls. So 1A, 1B shares 150 kilowatt power stack. Back in the days, that power stack was not that powerful. It was roughly 120 kilowatt, and then 135 eventually, and then they upgraded to 150. But then the way it works there is that there's some logic there that the first car will get the most juice it wants, and then the second car gets a minimum of 30 kilowatt. I think that's how the logic was. They might have changed some of the logic, and also the logic might be different on some sites. So some sites, even if you are first at the supercharger and someone else plugs next to you, it might actually be split 50-50. So that's different. Yeah, but but the thing is that, so if one Tesla arrives with and gets 120 kilowatt, the other car might get only 30 kilowatt, and that kind of sucks. But fortunately, Teslas, they can't maintain that speed for too long. So soon enough, the Tesla needs to throttle down the first car, and then suddenly the first car can only take, let's say, 100 kilowatt. Then actually the second car will get 50 kilowatt already. So they don't have to wait for the whole 75 or the 80, the big chunk of power module like the Alpitronic has to be released before they can get more power. So ideally you want to have more fine grain distribution or fine grain power modules. Kempower, I don't remember how it was. I think it was 25 kilowatt power modules, and they can again distribute them. So one Leaf, well, if it's under normal condition, one Leaf needs 2 power modules, and then if it's rapid gating, it needs only 1 power module, and then the other power modules can be freely distributed to give power to other cars. So that is a very good solution, I think. Wait, what the heck was that? Freaking fossils. Yeah. But then the problem with Kempower is that as of today, they don't have 400 volt, and you kind of need 800. Oh, sorry, they don't have 800 volt. They have 400 volt, and many cars nowadays they want to have 800 volt. And I think maybe one criteria for Ionity is that they need to have 800 volt systems. 400 volt is not going to cut it. But Kempower has had the 800 volt system for buses operational for a long time. I wonder if it was in Malmö. So they already have it up and running, but yeah, they can actually change it so that they don't have to dig anything. The cables and everything has been prepared for 800 volt. They just have to change something in the power module stack, and then suddenly, boom, they have 800 volt architecture. And then I guess maybe I should also show you another solution, but then I'm not sure. Yeah, we can visit some more sites here so you can see what is available. So what I should also mention is that at least the Tritium chargers that Tritium chargers that Ionity users, they have fairly long cables, especially the new ones. The reliability on the Tritium chargers, on the other hand, seems to be somewhat low because they tend to break all the time. And this is not something I'm making up, because I keep running into broken chargers. And you guys can probably also confirm, you have seen broken Tritium chargers, right? ABC, always broken chargers. So let me see, but I can show you another solution, but this one will most likely not be, they won't, Ionity won't even consider it, because it's delta chargers. They are very common. And I forgot to mention that Alpitronic Hyperchargers, they are by default 800 volt architecture. Also ABB chargers that you have seen, actually I just remember now, Ionity has some ABB chargers around Europe. I've even visited some of them. I think it was in Austria. So they have ABB, and the ABB chargers, they are also 800 volt architecture. We can also visit another site. I'm going to show you now. You'll be amazed of how many charging sites. Well, it's kind of funny. When Tesla people bitch about, oh, the freaking e-tron is taking up 2 stalls. Well, what is this Model X doing? He's taking up 2 stalls. He should have stayed behind. Yeah, and taking the spot behind, because there's plenty of spots here. But on the other hand, it's evening now, so he's not really blocking for anything. But I'm just saying that Tesla people are not better parkers than non-Tesla owners. But here, again, I can show you typical scenario in Norway, right? I forgot to show you here. We have I think there's a Volkswagen e-Up. It takes roughly 40 kilowatt max. And then we have a Kia Soul. It takes also roughly 45, almost 50, 47, 48 kilowatt. So you see, the cars nowadays, they don't need that much power still. They don't drive around with Taycans or EV6. But these are the Delta chargers. Very common. But what I wanted to tell you is that the Delta chargers, actually by default, if you go for the cheapest option, they are not 400 volt. I mean, they are not 800 volt architecture. You have to pay extra to get the 800 volt option. And I tried to ask Mer about this, but I'm not sure if I got the right answer. If this are these 800 volt or 400 volt? Did they pay extra to get the 800 volt option or not? Ich weiß nicht. But these ones, they don't want them because it's. We have a car behind us. Okay. Oh, cool. It warns me. Okay, but these are 150 kilowatt, and then if it's split, then it's 75 each. That's not going to cut it. So, but I'm just showing you what is available on the market, and then we're going to visit another site nearby and show you what we have there. But let me just keep talking then. So, the whole point with this video is to show you guys what's out there in the market, and to talk more about Ionity. And then maybe you guys can give some useful input, because you guys are, oh cool, we have a Hongqi here. I need to test that Hongqi. It's freaking huge. This is a huge car. Yeah, I know that Hongqi means red flag. Yes, okay, anyway. Did you know that e-tron means shit? Yeah, I know. No, but I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not. I'm not trying to criticize Ionity, because I freaking love Ionity. Like back in the days when I started doing 1,000 kilometer challenge through Sweden, I don't know how many years. Oh yeah, it was MC Hammer time. It was roughly 2019. Oh well, that's only 3 years ago. Time flies. But 3 years ago, or actually let's say 4 or 5 years ago, the charging network throughout Europe was a disaster. It is somewhat still a freaking disaster, because there's a big jungle of charging networks and RFIDs and apps and shit you need to have in order to charge. If you just cross the border between one country and another around Europe, then suddenly you have to get some other subscriptions, some other apps or some other shit in order to charge there. And here we have Ion. I've shown you guys, we were visiting Circle K, we were visiting some other shit. One good thing about Ion, clever, is that, you see there they have a card reader. So you can actually, they can accept credit card. This is brilliant. Well, I thought these were ABB chargers. These are also the fat, okay, here we see an example, yes. These are the Alpitronic hypercharger, fat one with 2 cables, and not sure how much power we have there. But yeah, this is one way Ionity could do it, I guess. Yeah, just have enough power modules there. But back to Ionity. So it was like Sweden in the beginning was like how they put this, a charging network desert. Right? It was horrible, the charging network in Sweden, except for Tesla supercharger. They kick ass for the Lord since 2014. But if you had a non-Tesla, it was nightmare. You would have only 50 kilowatt charger, like one 50 kilowatt charger on a site, right? Is that even a joke or something? But then Ionity came, wham, 4 chargers on one site, wonderful high power chargers, and you can travel across Europe with just one card, one subscription, every country, and you have plenty of stalls. And I never had to check Ionity for oh, is it available? Wait, let me test the GT. Okay, let me do that. We have to test. I mean, you'd be like, dude, you've been driving around now for 20 minutes with half an hour actually with a Mach-E GT, and you haven't unleashed the power. Okay, let's unleash the power of the Mach-E. Wait. I have to go here and I have to set it to untame. Okay. It's untamed now. Let's go. Propulsion sound on. The car spun. Wow. Really? But I heard that you can get the maximum power on the Mach-E for just 5 seconds. Maybe I should try to explore the limit. There's another Mach-E. Oh, I feel like it's running out of oomph. Oh, it's out of oomph. 9. It has the sound, but it's out of oomph. Is it here? Okay. Slow down. Oh, it's not that punchy anymore. Scheiße. This is nicht good. Okay, anyway, let's kick back to the topic. Okay. Yeah. But so that was Ionity. You know, they kick ass for the Lord. Yeah, back then, like for the longest time actually, for 2-3 years, they kick ass. But the problem, like I mentioned, they had a big surge of MEB cars and well, I don't remember all the other cars. BMW and you know, all those cars. They joined, and the Korean cars also. They joined the partnership, and suddenly you have a bunch of cars, and also Mach-E. Suddenly you have a bunch of cars that can charge on Ionity, and they gang back Ionity, and then we have Laderstau. So the thing is that, okay, this is actually a little bit criticism towards Ionity, is that they have a great network, but they just didn't scale it fast enough like Tesla. Tesla managed to scale it because back in the days, you know, I've been in the game since 2013 with the Falcon. Back then we had 6 supercharger sites in Norway, and each site had somewhere between 4 and 8 stalls only. So in a way you can say that Tesla started out similar to Ionity started out similar to Tesla, but Tesla has been scaling up the charging network as the car population grows. But I feel like Ionity has not been able to scale up in time. And I feel like the one reason why they haven't scaled up is because the hardware is kind of holding them back. Because if they're gonna put up 20 stalls, 20 Tritium 350 kilowatt chargers, they need some humongous transformer stations. They need like 20, they get 7 megawatt, right? Like, how expensive is that gonna be? So, but that's why I'm thinking, why do we need it, right? We don't need it yet. Well, in one day we might need it, but then maybe we should consider other hardware manufacturers. Because by the end of the day, most customers who charges at Ionity, I think they don't really care what kind of hardware it is, as long as it's working. But I'm just asking you guys, because you guys are the customers. Okay, Ionity, they are dictated by the shareholders, but by the end of the day, you guys who are the customers have the power to push Ionity or the car manufacturers into the right direction. Because the way it is today, Tesla is kind of like the savior here, because they open up the supercharger network, and lots of people, especially fat e-tron owners, but lots of other brands like Kona owners and e-Niro and Polestar owners, they're like, oh hallelujah, we can charge at supercharger. And I've seen lots of pictures of people happily charging at the Tesla supercharger across Europe this summer. They managed to avoid Laderstau. But is this Tesla's responsibility to kind of help the lack of enough charges for Ionity? Yeah, I think Ionity should take some responsibility and build up enough stalls so they can support the cars they have invited into the network, something like that. But again, people, cars without subscription, like, well, let me see, which car, maybe Zoe doesn't have subscription, right? Direct subscription, but you still have that Ionity pass. And if you charge a lot, then it actually pays off to use Ionity pass. So, but they just have to have enough stalls. That's what I'm saying. So Tesla managed to scale up when the big wave of Model 3 and Model Y came. They already a couple of years before, they started scaling up the supercharger network. And when the big wave came, it was no problem. They were able to catch it. At least that's the case in Europe. But what I've seen around Europe, Tesla managed to scale it up. What happens in different continents, that's a different story. Like in US, there tends to be some really congested sites. But again, not every site in Norway has been nice and smooth. For example, Lillehammer for the longest time was also super congested during holiday seasons. Also many other sites like in Norway used to be very congested. I'm talking about Tesla supercharger sites, but Tesla did expand them. And when Tesla expand, they don't just put up 2 extra stalls. They put up like 10 extra stalls. Bam! Then suddenly they go from 12 to 22 stalls, right? So it's crazy how fast they expand. And I think the reason why they can add so many stalls is because each stall can actually, in theory, only output 70 kilowatt when it's really heavily loaded, because we have 150 kilowatt for each charger stack, and yeah, when you have to share. But it seems to be sufficient. Yeah. And why is it sufficient? Because back again to what I said, 70 kilowatt is roughly the average that you need anyway when it's kind of heavy. And I think if you ask someone who's in Laderstau, in the Ionity Laderstau, or somewhere even in Tesla, like, what would you do? Would you be able to plug in now and receive only 70 kilowatts, or would you want to wait 20 minutes and then you can get 150 kilowatt instantly? I think most people say, fuck that shit. I just don't care. I just want to have 70 kilowatt, and then eventually, yeah, that's also another thing. Eventually, after just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then most likely you will get more than 100 kilowatt when the more power is available. You know, most people will probably accept that, and again, most people, they'll be like, my car won't even take more than 70 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt anyway, so I'll take it. Yeah, so we're gonna visit the Ionity Dalen, a very very popular site. So I will show you how it is over there. So yes, I don't know what you think about this video. It's like a what do you call it? Like a podcast style, yes, but it's also a little bit more interactive because I visit some sites and I show you guys what's going on. I thought about going out to show you stuff, but then it might take longer. So that's why I'm just staying in the car. This video is getting already kind of long, but maybe I should end it at Ionity, by the way. But I can just show you that the Ionity site over here, Dar, is also getting kind of busy. Yeah, it is actually getting busy. I used this site for a long time for a starting point for my range test, and just 2-3 years ago, there were never any Laderstau here. Nowadays, we're getting more and more Laderstau, but fortunately not that bad. We might have to wait usually just 5-10 minutes and then we get a stall. But I feel like they should have scaled it up more, or yeah, if we start counting number of stalls and number of sites on Tesla versus Ionity, then I feel like Ionity could have done better. They probably have enough funding from all the car manufacturers backing them up, the big German car brands, and yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, of course it's easy for me to sit here on my high horse. Well, it's literally a freaking horse. It's a Mustang. Yes, it's easy for me to sit on my high horse and dictate or tell that, Ionity, you guys suck. You should have been done better than this. But by the end of the day, it's the customers who are suffering during holiday season, and they get stuck in Stau. But of course, you can avoid it now. You can avoid it by seeking to Tesla supercharger. But I see already some sites like Bjørn in Denmark. It's overcrowded. The Tesla supercharger, by the way, is already kind of overcrowded because cars, they have charge port on the right side with the wrong side, should have been left side with the right side. They're blocking stalls that could have been utilized. That's another problem, by the way. But Tesla, they have a solution already, which is the V4. The V4 will have longer cables. But until that time, then I guess at least Tesla is doing what they can to help the EV community by chewing away Laderstau, which is great. But what the heck, dude? It's 11:14 now on a weekday, and this is exactly what I've been talking about. I'm just gonna show you here. You see. It's 11:14 and we have 3 cars charging here. No, normally at 11 it would be completely empty, but this guy scored he's at it's a 90%. This dude, he hasn't started yet, but yeah. So I guess I can test. I'm gonna test some plug and charge, by the way. But yeah, okay, maybe I didn't give you guys the right picture here of and also I can show here typically. What the heck happened here? What? Okay, so this used to be Grønn Kontakt or Mer, and then they had 2 50 kilowatt fast chargers, and then suddenly one disappeared. But before that time, yes, Circle K took over the payment and everything and the app and whatever. So there were 2 Tritium chargers here for a while this summer, or since springtime, or I don't know. But now one is gone because I think it was kaput and they just removed the whole thing and they put a garbage bin there instead, which is basically the same as the charger that used to be there, right? Oh shit! Gonna get so many hate comments from Tritium fanboys now. But you see, this is what you have there. This is what you had back in the days before Ionity was invented. It would be something shitty like this, right? And then Ionity came and like, wham! Yes, you know, and they came with something like this, lots of stalls, open, nice, open, high-powered charger, but they just didn't follow up. That's the thing. So I guess I will test plug to charge now with this car, this Mustang. And then the woman is leaving now. Yeah. So let's see now. I'm supposed to just go in here and then plug it in, and then maybe I should also tell you guys more about this site, by the way, before I mess around too much. And typically Ionity, you see those stalls, those chargers, these are the old Tritium chargers. You will see more and more the new chargers out there. So these are still very common across Europe. Yeah, Tritium 350 kilowatt, just one stack in there. They have everything in here. They have the cooling stuff, they have the rectifier, what there is, and the dispenser. Everything is in one module here, or one piece, which is kind of easy to just lower in and bam, and you don't have to dig too much. And also Ionity, they have placeholders for future stalls. Here you see those open spots there. So actually this site has the potential to have 12 stalls in the future. And I think maybe it's about time for them to expand Dal, because Dal is getting kind of busy, but they haven't even expanded the space they have here. I'm not sure why, and I can show you, by the way, since we are here, it's actually easier for me to drive around rather than walking around with that camera. But here by the way, I can show you that this one is the transformer. It even says Ionity there. So I don't remember the power, but this one is probably the 2.1 megawatt transformer. So it takes the high. Why is the car doing all that? So it takes the so the one to the left here takes the high voltage, the really high voltage from the grid, and transforms it into how much is this? Wait, is this doing it? Yeah, it's transforming it to lower AC to is it 400 volt, right? And then these ones here, there are some rectified. Wait, I'm not sure what these one do. Someone needs to tell me what these one do. Yeah, but this is not like Kempower or Tesla. The charger stacks are not in here. That's the thing. If the charger stacks are in. Let me just drive around. You guys get this near. Chargers. This one. Yes. So if something breaks in one of these, then the whole charger stack, the whole thing there is kaput, and then it's out of service. And then, so then suddenly 350 kilowatt of potential power is not available. Well, not that we need to use it anyway, right? Yeah, so so I guess that's it. I'll show you guys as much as possible. And I will just ask you guys, so what do you guys think here? Was this educational? Was it useful? And then what can Ionity do? Because I love Ionity. I think they have a great business model and great network, and just the fact that you can drive around across Europe without having to mess around with too many RFIDs and shit. You can just use Ionity, one car to rule them all. But they just haven't expanded enough. So what can we do? What do you guys suggest? Do you guys can you guys just give me some feedback? What is it that you like with Ionity, and what is it that you don't like with Ionity? And what do you think Ionity should do to improve? Should they put up more of these Tritium chargers? Should they go for Kempower? Should they get Alpitronic? Should they go for 150 kilowatt Delta chargers? What should they do? Should they have a mix? Because some charge point operators like Koppel and some other places, there is a mix, and they will mark it clearly, like these are the high power chargers, 350 kilowatt, and then expensive shit, and then these ones are 50 kilowatt slow shit but cheaper, something like that. So maybe Ionity could also do it like that, or because you have to face the fact that Ionity has grown so big. They have so many cars under the umbrella that, and also not every car out there will be able to take 350 kilowatt like this ID3. So he's super happy if he can get 150 kilowatt or 125 kilowatt, or when it's rapid gate or cold gating, he needs only 70 kilowatt, right? So maybe there should be a mix. But then the problem, I guess, if you introduce something like some high power chargers like 350 kilowatt, then you can bet that there's a freaking i3 taking the 350 kilowatt charger, and then the Taycan shows up and he's like, only the 50 kilowatt is available. So actually, the best solution would be something like the Hypercharger or Kempower. One thing I should mention is that Kempower hardware is super sophisticated and very, very smart. I can also show you, by the way, that okay, I don't know too much about Tritium since I don't have insight in what the hardware is capable of. But what I can show you here is that the Tritium chargers, they look something like this, and they just have a screen, and you can it's not even a touch screen. And that's pretty much it. You can see charging power and amp and stuff, but it's not very smart or anything like that. Whereas Kempower, they put a lot of work when they design the system so that you can detect which car it is, and you can you can show the QR code, and you can see the charging screen. Just scan it with your phone and whatever, right? And but the Kempower hardware and software, especially the software behind Kempower, is super sophisticated. So what Kempower could possibly do, they're probably watching this one also, is that wow, this car makes so many weird noises. What the Kempower could do is that, okay, if Ionity wants to use Kempower, what they could do is that they can detect that a Taycan is connected, and then the Taycan will get the first priority on all the power it needs. Because one site might have, let's say, 600 kilowatt available, or maybe more, 1 megawatt available. So I think most people don't care if the Taycan takes 250 kilowatt or 260 kilowatt, because the Taycan won't need 260 kilowatt for too long anyway. And then I guess most other people, they might not even notice that instead of getting 125 kilowatt on the ID3 behind us, or in front of us here, the ID3 might get only 100 kilowatt. One power module is like, zoop, snap, Taycan takes it. You know, Taycan just pulls several power modules from the other cars, and then Taycan owner is happy, he gets the maximum speed. Most other people here, they don't care, or they don't notice that the car is charging slightly slower, and then we are all happy. But as far as I know, these Tritium chargers and the Hypercharger that I've shown you, and the Delta chargers, they are kind of dumb chargers. They don't have the possibility to do anything like that. Yeah. So, and one last thing I should mention is that Tesla supercharger also has like a distributed system similar to Kempower. And actually, one supercharger site, the one you saw at Kløfta, the cleavage, is you can distribute the power, but if 20 Tesla Model 3 arrives with 5% battery and plugs in, not all the cars will not get 250 kilowatt. It will be something like 200 kilowatt each or something. But then, fortunately for Tesla, is that they cannot maintain 250 kilowatt too long anyway. We're talking about just a minute. So for the most part, it won't be a problem. But also Tesla has some kind of distributed system. So you see, Tesla moved away from the V2, which had two stalls, two plugs in one charger stack, kind of. Yeah, and they move into more fine-grained distributed system. And also Kempower is doing the same thing. Whereas I feel like some of the other hardware manufacturers, they are stuck with the old design, like this one. But at least Alpitronic is slightly more flexible. And then, but I guess there are other, there are other Tritium chargers also that can have several plugs. So of course, if Ionity wants to stick with Tritium, they could do that. But well, actually, I think I'm gonna move. Yeah, I need to conduct some tests. But so now I'm showing you guys this. This is a very long video, but I actually wanted it to be very long because I want to give you guys as much detail as possible. So excuse me for the long video. But also, what I can tell you that initially, if you guys remember, Ionity, they had some really cool looking chargers, and those were the Porsche design. You know, Røde in Denmark, in the south towards the German border. That one has those Porsche chargers. Now I heard from Ionity, one of my friends over there, that they are dismantling it because they are running out of parts. So the whole Porsche charger thing was troublesome. If you think that Tritium is unreliable, then you really have to look at the Porsche charger, because Ionity were plagued with lots of problems with the Porsche chargers, and since they don't have parts, then they're just like, okay, whatever, we're just gonna put some Tritium there instead. So I guess one day when I visit Røde I can check it out. But yeah, so because also that's one thing I heard, is that why don't we use some of the other charger, right? Supposedly, I'm not sure if this is true. It could be a rumor. I could be saying something I should not say, but okay, I just take my chances. But supposedly, the design of the charger is also important. Maybe that's why Ionity chose the latest generation or the latest Tritium. You know, the ones at Helsingborg, for example, they are kind of tall, and they kind of resemble the Porsche charger, like a tall column with some nice design. So apparently, what I heard is that some of the other car hardware manufacturers I mentioned, right, the other brands here, they just don't conform to the design language that that Ionity kind of want. Yeah. So I hope I don't get in trouble with Ionity by saying this, because I don't feel like it's any confidential or anything like that. But I want to ask you guys, do you guys care about how the chargers at Ionity look like? Or do you care more about if you have Ladestau or not, and how fast you're charging, and how expensive it is to charge there? Yeah, but okay. But yeah, oh shit, I'm running out of space. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later. And please leave me a comment about what you think about this. Yeah, okay, bye-bye.